So, I guess start, maybe tell me about a little bit where you've been on tour so far and how it's been going.
It's been going great. We've been busy. It's a we're playing almost every night of this trip. So we started in Virginia, at the Clementine and Harrisonburg, and then we headed up to Washington, D.C., and we played the Kennedy Center, which is
I just saw that actually.
Yeah, that was kind of one of our most notable gigs ever so far. So
How did it feel?
it felt great. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really beautiful, tall building. It's just like really grand, just glorious.
Yeah, and the building sounded great too.
Yeah.
I mean, it felt and sounded really good.
Yeah.
Full crowd, most diverse crowd we've had. Like, the first few people I met were from like Italy, Spain, Africa. So, you know, being in the bluegrass scene, our crowds can be a little one-dimensional. You know, so it was nice to just get into a totally different world.
Yeah. You guys, your music probably draws lots of fans though. I mean, there's got to be the bluegrass percentage in there, but then there's got to be lots of people who really love all types of different music or kind of unique sort of thing.
Yep, we're slowly making our way out into the world. You know, it's like we come kind of from the bluegrass festival scene and the acoustic Americana. You know, the festival world is really where we kind of got our start, but we're definitely wanting to branch out into some more other worlds like jazz festivals, and then some. We did our first like kind of indie rock based festival in Birmingham, Alabama. A couple weeks ago, which was really a cool new thing for us.
Oh yeah, which one was that?
It's called Secret Stages.
Okay.
And yeah, I didn't recognize really any of the bands on there that I can remember that I knew before.
Except for a couple from Raleigh and Durham.
Yeah,
area.
Yeah. I was listening. I just the other day when I set this up because I heard a lot of your songs before, but I gave Lost at Last a full listen, and what I like a lot of things about it, but one thing that I've been getting more into, so maybe I liked it about your album now that I listened to it, was on a couple of songs there's a real kind of like kick to it, like that indie, very kind of heavy, bit, like for a few measures it's really like cool to listen to, like kind of like this kind of hard sort of driving rock feel to it. Is that something that has always been with you guys, or it came on this album especially?
Yeah. You guys want?
Yeah, I mean, I think just with the addition of drums, where kind of amping up the sound a little bit, that kind of brought this level of our sound up a little more. But I mean, John was a drummer in a math rock band as a kid, and I think that influence creeps in throughout the music pretty regularly, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I also really think that was the element that was happening live, like in the months leading up to the album. When we actually did the album, that was one of the elements that really kind of solidified, and there was a lot of things in the recording, in the process of recording the album, that really came together and helped us keep going from there. And that kind of rock element, and just the whole conceptualizing of how to use this unusual instrumentation came together in the process of recording.
Yeah, and Lost at Last, for sure, it captures a lot more of our sound that we developed on the road, as opposed to the first record, which was way more experimental, kind of like getting our feet wet, trying to figure out how it's all going to work, and then this was like
in the studio.
Yeah, so this is like 2 years later. We've been out playing a lot more. We've done some things on stage and figured out some new ideas, and yeah, it's like, because of my background, I think the ceiling of how heavy or how loud we can get is I'm not scared to get as loud or heavy as we feel like we should. You know, it's like.
Also, the name of the record, Lost at Last. I mean, the whole point of that is to say like we're not trying to just pick a musical destination and be there. Like we're kind of finally out playing all the various types of music that inspires us at last.
Yeah.
You know.
And you guys definitely all have like the chops to kind of play with each other. It sounds like, and really go with one another on riffs and like improvisation. Does that sort of just occur naturally? Like you come up with something and then two other you jump on board, sort of, or?
Yeah. It's just kind of unique to where we found ourselves, Lost at Last. It's like we've all been in many different bands, been playing music professionally for a long time, and it's kind of, in a way, this band is kind of the band I've always wanted to have, where like, oh man, I wish we could do this or do that, or I wish we could be a little more spontaneous to be able to do things that we feel at any given time, and I guess that's kind of off topic, but
it's kind of a combination of both things. There's definitely an element of of going with each other when something spontaneous happens, but then we pay attention a lot to the arrangements, and we tweak the arrangements as we perform the songs, and the songs are always developing, so that that like the Lost at Last songs, they all basically sound like the songs as we recorded them, but every song has something about it that we've developed since we recorded.
And they all have space. There's space in almost every song for improvisation.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, here's a part. That's my solo where it's kind of
that's like goes to my dream kind of music, which is structured music that's difficult and challenging, that's mind like inspiring, but also that has to have the improvisation, because so to be playing something scripted all the time is not what I want to do, but also to be completely freeform isn't really me
enough.
either.
Yeah, we don't treat it like we're a jam band where the form is what is improvised.
Right.
It's within the form that we do the improvisation, and then we keep the structure of the tune pretty much the same every time. There's a few songs we'll take that out, but
and the improvisational side of it really keeps it kind of keeps you sane as far as having to do so many shows. It's like, dude, okay, we've played this song a lot, almost to a really annoying extent, but
yeah, that's why I love that space when you have to improvise, where it's just like, okay, I'm going to try to do something I've never done right here.
Yeah, you're
just
like,
to see what happens.
exactly, and it helps.
Do you guys ever shock each other, or do you come up with something and two of you are like, where are you going with this?
Yeah.
It isn't. I mean, maybe it is because we do play so much that we really do have a nice sense of where we're going. But there's a lot of the times where, Lindsay and I, so they have like bass pedals that they'll trade off being the rhythm section. Like John will be soloing, it's Lindsay and I, and John will just do something totally nuts, and all
we're like looking at each other like,
So there can be many different responses to spontaneous improvisation.
And also, that's where some of those developments of the songs, that's the things that become like the new way we play a song, comes out of those moments too.
Yeah.
Certain things that just happen will stick, and then some of them don't.
And there's also this other kind of on the opposite side of that, because we're a trio. If you go out too far, then we're all
you don't
really
have 4 or 5 other people to keep it solid.
Exactly. So it's like, John is doing a ton because he's playing all these root notes and these things that are really low, and it's like if those things don't happen too many times, it really loses the actual kind of bottom of the song. And so it's it's this polarizing thing where we can go out, yet still we got to be there.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenging band instrumentation for a band. The trio in general, like you don't ever get to, as a fiddle player and just any kind of like person in like say a bluegrass band or a country band, you're a soloist. You just get to like play your thing, and then you kind of stop for a while and like check out the steel or something. There's no
more
chance.
Of a traditional role that you'd be in.
Right, and you have time to kind of just like be in and out of the music. Whereas this is like, once I'm not soloing, I'm going right back to playing the bass. It's like, and same for everybody else.
I was actually preparing for this, watching some interviews with you guys, and one, I'm not going to remember the radio station, but you were doing one and you were showing your effects pedals and kind of how you fill that in, and then that's when I had actually listened to the album, and then since I watched that, I heard them when the active stuff that you and Lindsay do. So that's like really cool stuff, and how you kind of fit that in and make the band have a different sound.
Yeah, that was a big part of Lost at Last too.
Yeah.
That was something we had figured out and done live as say, how can we add some low end to this? How can we biggin up our sound? And that was one thing that was really huge, and that happened kind of in the space between the first album and Lost at Last. And so Lost at Last was the first time that we actually recorded using the bass.
Yeah.
And it kind of defined the sound.
Switching to actually using actual bass amps for my particular bass tone made a big difference too.
And so now that the bass thing has become a huge part of our just the sound of the Jon-Stickley Trio. But it's cool because we don't do it every song. There's certain new tunes I think that we don't even use them at all.
Right.
Or maybe you
use
maybe
like
use it
a
little
lighter
bit.
version of the bass.
So, or sometimes we both have our bass on.
Yeah.
It's really awesome.
Yeah, you can tell when that happens. And I was curious, one thing I wanted to ask you guys is, it was fan funded when you were recording it down in Nashville. Can you tell me a little bit about that and how that, how you did that?
Yeah, well, we did it through Kickstarter. We wanted to raise enough money to make the best album that we could, so we put together a budget and launched our Kickstarter, and it was a really formative process for us as far as our fan base and everything, because up to that point we were kind of, we didn't know how many fans we had. We had never reached out to the world and said, hey y'all, we're doing this, can you help, or you want to be a part of this? And the response was great. We met our goal, and it was way more of an inspiring, empowering, motivating experience than it was, hey, give us money to do what we want. It's like, I had to kind of wrap my head around the whole Kickstarter idea, but at the end it was just like, wow, that was so cool. And then the people loved their rewards too. We did some house concerts, and I recorded cover versions of songs that people wanted for them, and then of course they all got the album as soon as it came out. So it's like the album comes out, and then bam, 300 people get it instantly, and then start talking about it.
It's
and it's
kind
just
of like it's promotional and it's already in distribution.
Yeah. So our plan for our next full length is so we've on our own recorded a 5-song EP of new music that we're going to release in conjunction with the Kickstarter to do our next full length. So anyone who's a part of the Kickstarter instantly gets the EP and then gets the full length when we're done.
Double winning.
Yeah, just because it was great the first time, and it was really cool. Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's going to be. It's always kind of been a relationship between fans that you have and fans that you make. It sounds like what you do, and definitely it sounds like with you guys, your music is like so interesting, and it grabs people, and tried this thing, and then it worked. We got all these fans and this whole kind of support base.
Yeah.
So, like I heard about you guys, like Green Sky Bluegrass, they have a fan page, and there was just a bunch of people who I think were hardcore Green Sky fans, and they on the Facebook page they just kept sharing Jon Stickley videos.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool to hear.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
that's cool.
We got to open up for them a couple nights in their hometown. That was probably a really big in Michigan over Thanksgiving last year, I guess. That's probably when that spiked. I'm sure we've done some other things.
Yeah, and we've gotten a lot of cool legs up from and help from bands that are already established. You know, like Leftover Salmon, Infamous String Dusters, Green Sky, Steep Canyon. All these guys have, you know, they've known us through just the music scene and stuff. And the coolest part about the festival jam grass music scene is, like, you know, if a big band sees something they like, they're all about promoting it. You know, it's not competitive like some other things are. You know, they've, you know, we've gone out and opened for all of these bands now multiple times. So, and they're like some of our biggest promoters. Or like they're like, hey, jon-stickley-trio, and then they'll have us sit in with them during their set. You know, so it's just huge.
Yeah. I mean, I think with this genre and sort of this world of music, there's more of that openness with just, it's more about, you know, playing than money, or about, you know, competition. Like we said, between bands, it's more like, you know, someone wants to, you know, get up with, you know, play with someone new and someone that and I saw them at Flame Fest a couple weeks ago, and they brought up all these people and just jammed with them. So that's why, I mean, I, you know, fell in love with the bluegrass world. I mean, even on the you know, famous people, on just, you know, local playing stuff, there's like so much of it. And there's just, like, I know there's a lot, so that must be, at least from what I've heard, probably Asheville is big with that, really,
Sure.
local music.
Yeah.
A lot of picking, circles, jams, spontaneous.
And that collective, communal, supportive spirit is what drew me to bluegrass in the first place. From, like, you know, I was in a rock band, and then I went to my first bluegrass jam as just a beginning mandolin picker, and it changed my life because I had never been to, you know, our band didn't get together and jam with other bands. It's like we had our band, and it was our friends, and that was it. We played shows and stuff, but there was no collaboration and mixing. So when I went to that first jam and met these people and started playing music with them, it's like, wow, we've never met before. They're totally inclusive. They're encouraging me to learn more, and that just, like, I was like bluegrass from then on, picking festivals, and yeah.
And they're opening today for Cabinet. Have you ever played with any of these guys before, or?
Yeah, we've connected with them at a lot of festivals, but we've never shared a bill together, or, you know, honestly, I've only seen them play like maybe like half a song at a festival that I was walking by from place to place. So
We've been at Swanee.
Yeah, we played in
North
Forum at
Florida.
Swanee that's last festival down in Florida.
and they were at a string summit too.
Spring Summit too.
But I've jammed with them at campsites and become friends with them and everything. So it's nice that we're going to get to see a full set tonight. They're a great band.
I think you guys have a bunch of dates coming up in Florida, right? You have a bunch on your. You guys have good fan base down there. You usually find a lot of places that you're well known for.
Yeah, I'm from Florida, and I've kind of grown up in that main festival, the Swanee Spring and Mag Fest in North Florida. But we've kind of developed, a lot of the people from South Florida come to that festival too, and we'll be going down there. We'll be going to a couple places in Florida we've never been before, Sarasota and St. Petersburg, as well as the Delray Beach, Boca area.
Yeah, so because of Lindsay's connections, Florida was one of the main places that we've maybe a little atypical as far as places that progressive bluegrass bands go.
Right.
You know.
We just kind of friends.
So Florida's like our secret weapon. We're going to Florida like the whole month of November, right?
Yeah,
So,
It's been a festival called Farm to Family.
I think you guys are going to have a great show today. I think you're going to find, I've been to a couple of these here, and then they do it over at Bailey Beach, which is just a couple minutes. But usually either place you find actually a lot of local people come that have no idea who the band is, and they end up, people like music here. And I found, like I saw, lots of like Ira Krasno was a couple weeks ago, but they also had, like the String Dusters came here last year, and people were like, oh, who's this? And they ended up loving it, so I think it should be a good day. Just one question that I like to ask kind of at the end of every interview. If you guys, each of you, could play with one person or one band in the world, who would that be?
Play with.
I would love to jam with Bela Fleck. It's like a little bit of an obvious thing in my mind, but I've never actually gotten to play with him, and
That would be a good gig. I can see it. I can hear it.
I just want to sit down and play and see where he like takes me.
I'd say probably to play with my personal hero on acoustic guitar would be Tony Rice. Just to sit across from each other, and just for me to hear it done like that, like right in front of me, to hear the sound acoustically. I wouldn't even really need to play along, honestly. But to do that would, that's probably what I would say.
For me, it's actually really cool. My favorite drummer in the entire world is this guy named Dave King, who's the drummer for the Fat Plus, and he produced our record.
Right.
And so that dream kind of came true with that experience, and then we're also going up to play with him with another band that he plays with in September in Minneapolis, which will be really kind of an amazing thing.
Awesome.
But other than that, Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if we could just be the drummer.
If I could play with Led Zeppelin, that'd be amazing.
I'd like to curl up inside John Bonnet's face.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, they've been on and off, maybe back to maybe not, so who knows?
Yeah.
Will you guys plan to work with Dave King in the future? Continue to?
Yeah, we hope to. We hope to do another record with him next. So should be working out. I don't know how much I'm supposed to talk about that.
Oh, all right.
We definitely plan to work with him more.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you guys. This has been Jon Stickley Trio here in Norwalk, Connecticut, and excited for their set coming up.
Thanks
Thank you.
for having us.
Thanks.
Yep.
Boom.